the shore.
So these are all feeding the sailing navy. This it looks like it was just carrying meat, you can see. And there's sea salt there and meat. A sailor weekly ration, 1734. 56 pints of beer a week, butter 3 times a week, cheese 3 times a week, salt beef twice a week, bread or biscuit daily, oatmeal 3 times a week, salt pork twice a week, dried peas 4 times a week. This was the basic diet for sailors in the sailing navy. There were small changes early in the 19th century as soft bread, tea, cocoa, and sugar became part of the standard ration. And all this looks like the things they used to store the food beer. What can you smell is a hog's head with 54 something sugar. Sugar was used to clean barrels and antiseptic and help. And with these writings, guys, you cannot read them there. Some they have wrapped off. But you can see these are all the barrels and they look massive. This looks like biscuits. What can you see? Use the magnifying glass to see biscuit weevils and maggots. These weevils were a common problem in flour and biscuits. Yeah, if you use this, you can see the biscuits had maggots. Ew. These are sheep's biscuits. Okay, they were put in there. It's like a sack. The Victorian yard. This is a liga for storing water. All right. It's quite big, but probably not big enough. Feeding the sailing navy. This video describes the food what was eaten on a board ship. So I think if you press the buttons, yeah, to start the videos, press the button. Feeding the sailing navy.
Life aboard a sailing warship was usually wet, often cold, and dangerous. In such conditions, good food and the company of messmates was important to sailors. Ship's officers usually had better food, but life varied on ships, large or small, on blockade or sailing in convoy, in the cold North Sea or the heat of the East Indies. Sailors ate 3 meals a day as a mess of between 4 and 12 men. The main meal was midday dinner, which could last an hour and a half. The food was boiled in a central fire hearth under the supervision of the ship's cook. At the start of a cruise, the men ate fresh meat and vegetables cooked up in stews such as this lobscouse, eaten with soft fresh bread and beer. But after 3 or 4 days at sea, they fell back on the ship's rations of dry biscuit, salted meat, peas, oatmeal, butter and cheese. These were combined into meals like this dish of salt pork and haricot beans, served with dried peas and suet pudding. Once the ship was back in port, the food was better. Women were allowed on board. Fresh food could be bought from local traders, and the ship's routine was relaxed. The men often drank heavily, and if granted leave, they enjoyed a run ashore. The ship's officers dined in separate rooms to the men, usually on food and wine which they bought themselves. Here, meals were often extravagant, especially if the captain was entertaining, including fruit, bread, vegetables, fruit pies, rice dishes, meat pies and pudding, all washed down with a few bottles of wine. When Earl St. Vincent took command of the Channel Fleet in 1806, he spent over £500 on a huge array of tableware and food from traders in Portsmouth, including 6 dozen wine glasses and 2 dozen finger glasses, as well as 12 prime Southdown sheep and 12 bags of pressed hay. Although the diet was dull and often stale, the portions were generous, and ordinary sailors may actually have got more to eat and drink at sea than they did ashore.
So that was a short video about feeding the sailing navy. And there is another post over there saying the same, feeding the sailing navy. You can see at their time they were playing some different types of games. So there are all these, it's like little cups. So, and these are very old writing here. You can't read anything. On the side there is some information here. Mess bucket recovered from the wreck of HMS Invincible. So that was in the ship. Probably used to carry porridge, stews and soup from the galley to the mess table. It has a broad arrow marked on the bottom which shows it was standard naval uses. Alright, that is number 1. Number 2 and 3, ram measures. That's those. They are ram measures used for measuring out the sailors' ram ration. Until 1824, sailors received half a pint a day, the size of number 2, which are those the little one. The Admiralty were concerned about drunkenness, and in 1824 the ration was cut to a quarter of a pint, the size of number 3, which is that one on the right side front. So number 4, which is that piece of writing there inside, a new forecastle song, 1783, celebrating the achievements of the HMS Mediator in capturing 3 French ships. This was shortly before peace, and a final verse runs, and now we have got a peace, which we are sorry for, well put about the grog, my boys, and on the shore we'll row. That's that page on the left. So there is number 5, which number 5 is the right side of this writing. Inside the glass is a sea song for the forecastle, 1782. written after the Royal Navy's victory at the Battle of the Saints in 1782. Sailors were well known for mixing drink with the songs and dancing. This song has a simple rhythm and would probably be accompanied by a fiddle to a well-known tune. Yeah, that is number 5. Yeah, that's what it is. Number 6 is that half wood bowl on the right side of the silver thing. That's number 6. And it's a wooden bowl recovered from the wreck of HMS Invincible. This was a standard item used by the Navy. Number 7 is that looks like a tray, but looks like it's a half, and is a square plate recovered from the wreck of HMS Invincible, a standard design used to the crew. One side is missing, but when whole it was 12 inches square and was used for eating the sailors' main hot, and was used for eating the sailors, by the sailors, probably main hot meal of the day. This is the origin of the phrase, a square meal. And on top of that plate is a spoon, which is number 8, and it's pewter spoon recovered from the wreck of HMS Invincible. All right, number 9 is a wooden jug, which is just there. Wooden tankard. It looks like a jug to me, but it's called tankard, recovered from the wreck of the HMS Invincible, used for drinking beer or grog. Beer was the sailing navy's main drink. In the 18th century, rum replaced beer in 1831 because it kept longer and was easier to carry. And number 10 is that round, looks like a pot next to the wooden tankard, and it's a glazed stoneware jug, also recovered from the wreck of HMS Invincible, 1987. And that 395 and 4 in brackets. I don't know what that means. Pricked number 11 is this rope here. Looks like a rope on front, and it's saying pricked of tobacco. Sailors untied the rope to get at the chewing tobacco preserved inside. This is a modern replica. Ooh, so the tobacco was inside and they have to unwrap that too. Yeah, this is what it looks like, and that's in there. That's the real one. Yeah, smoking was forbidden below decks. Therefore, sailors usually chewed tobacco. They soaked it in rum and bound it with the rope into a prick of tobacco to keep the flavor in. Spitting on the decks was a punishable offense. Yeah, so guys, that is also a model of HMS Dragon. It is midday, April the 1st, 1769. HMS Dragon is loading 84 days of supplies for 893 men, women, and children. The ship is taking soldiers to Gibraltar. So that is how it looked like. So the 74-gun battleship was the most common type of battleship in the sailing navy. Touch the screen to explore a 74 or take command and sail into battle. That's another model of HMS Endeavour. Let the provisions be sent to the said back. So yes, of course we know English, they had a lot of ships, loads and a lot of them. Introduce anyway, Captain Cook and Scurvy. That's what it is, guys. And you find a secure for Scurvy. Captain Cook took great care of his crew. He tried some foods to prevent scurvy. His surgeon tried other foods as cures. He never actually identified the best remedy. Opened the drawers to see some of the foods used on HMS Resolution. Scurvy grass. Yeah. Oh, beef bones were boiled to make slabs of potable soup. It was a rich food but had no effect on scurvy. Try again. So serious. Oops, mustard seed. This was ground and made into a paste. It had no effect on scurvy. Try again. Yes. Of course, carrots. You know, they are veggies. Cabbage. This was pickled to make sauerkraut. It was quite a good remedy, but the sailors did not like it. Try again. And what was the carrot and carrots? These were cut up and boiled with sugar. They were low in vitamin C and Captain Cook rarely used them. Try again. Let's see the last one. Wow. It's an orange. Captain Cook orange juice is as a boiled sugary syrup. This reduced its vitamin C, but it's still a good remedy. Well done. And that's that, guys. Let's go through here. It's a bigger model of a ship. And this one is HMS Nile, launched in 1839. And HMS Nile served for nearly 40 years in the Royal Navy before being converted into a training ship and renamed Conway. She lasted in this role until she was finally destroyed in 1953. One of the reasons why she lasted so long was that her hull had been specially strengthened with the diagonal bracing, a system invented by the surveyor of the Navy, Sir Robert Seppings. This model was made to demonstrate his methods. Okay, guys, that's that. So let's go around here. This is a blast from the past. A statement of thankfulness to the American Friends of the Nation Museum of the Royal Navy. Yeah, you can't touch it, it's protected, but must have been used in the ship of, yeah, it was used in the HMS Victory ship 1737. That's the information there. Got some guns here. Fire lift the musket. Feel how heavy it is. You're not going to lift it. And that is definitely a sword. It looks very sharp. So those are two weapons. And there's a man here is gonna be killed. What? This sailing navy did not only fight long-range battles with the big guns. There was also much close quarters, hand-to-hand fighting. This video shows some of the weapons that were used. You can see examples in the showcase on your left. You can try them out in the display behind you. So, this is, I don't think that man will ever wake up. He's gone. That's horrible. And some more guns here. I mean weapons, guys, weapon. And some models of boots through there. There are some swords. Most naval officers owned 2 swords. The dress sword was for show and was worn when in full dress uniform. It was usually light and elaborately decorated. So there is all this information here. I'm trying to save the battery actually before it runs out. A headscarf, could be that red one, worn by Horswell under his hat during the boat action on the river Gironde. He later wrote to his mother saying that a French musket ball had grazed his head and torn the headscarf. Well, yeah, so if you press this button here, you'll see all the weapons which were used. Ponders away combat in the sailing navy.
This is the popular image of battles in the era of wooden sailing ships. In fact, they were nothing like this. Ships did indeed pound each other with heavy guns, but these did not fire exploding shells. Instead, they were armed with solid round shot, thrown many hundreds of yards in a hail of solid metal, known as a broadside. These broadsides smashed the sides of an enemy ship, sending up clouds of lethal wooden splinters, killing and maiming members of the opposing crew. Ships very rarely sank in battle and only occasionally caught fire or blew up. Instead, they had to be captured by special groups of sailors and Royal Marines. These were known as boarding parties. Muskets and pistols were not automatic. They had to be reloaded after each shot. This was a slow process, so they were of little use in close combat. Instead, old-fashioned hand weapons were used, which had hardly changed at all in 300 years. The cutlass was a simple sword with a long, heavy blade. It was cheap to make and could cut through a man's limbs with a single blow. The boarding axe was a dual-purpose weapon. It could be used to help men climb up a ship's side and then kill or maim the enemy. The boarding pike was like a spear. It was designed so that a sailor could stab someone and then remove the spike quickly before moving on to another opponent. Even pistols were used in close-quarter fighting. They had a sturdy handle, so once they'd been fired, they could be reversed and used as a club. This sort of fighting was vicious and bloody, more like a street brawl than a disciplined battle. so the sailors had to be physically fit and very highly trained in the use of the weapons.
Okay, we are learning here. Hand-to-hand fighting. Most naval battles of the sailing era involved some close quarters fighting. So these are hand-to-hand fighting. So you can see some arrows, those two long ones, some guns, axe, of course pistol and sword. Serious, man. This is serious. This is not a toy. Maximum 2 children. Oh, check your height on the chart. Yeah, what is this? Could be a part of the ship or boat. Step on the strip, star-up rope. 2 children needed. Lean over the yard arm, then haul in the sail. Pick up the blue reefing rope under the yard arm, pull it up. Pick up the red filling rope over the yard arm, pull it up. Tie the 2 ropes together. Repeat with the next 2 rows of ropes, and I don't know what happens after that. So yes, these are still the different models of shape. There's another one there. I'm sure if we read, we will know. And there, guys, the sailing navy. By the beginning of the 18th century, sailing warships had become standardized. There were 3 main types: ship of the line or line of battleships. These had 2 or 3 decks of guns which could be fired in heavy broadsides. They could therefore serve in the line of battle. Frigates, special duty ships. Okay, guys, that is it there. And these are photos, the professionals navy, sorry. Yeah. Vice Admiral Lord de Chimarez. That's a big for who is a captain. Latter Admiral Sir George Pocock, 1706, 1792. Where was he from? By Thomas. Oh, okay. That's him there. And there's this one here. And he is Captain Latter Admiral Sir Harry Burrard Neal, died 1840. That's him there. And there is these 3 here, which are in a smaller size comparing to those 2. Vice Admiral Sir Charles Vincombe Penrose, that's him. Oh, no, that is the top one there. Yeah, Charles, that's the one on the top there. And this one is, so guys, we came through there and the journey continues this way. So you can see it's all the pictures On board the steam pounder wooden soap HMS Wasp. So that, yeah, all the pictures of the Navy. You can see that is a gun, a weapon, quick firing 3 powder, hot chickies gun. Yeah, powder gun. And that's the man. This colorful hanging piece of, fabrics. Let's see this. It's a quite big one. HMS Lens Gun Crew at action. Yeah, on 5th August 1914, this gun fired the first shots in the war to sea, which claimed 43,930 Royal Navy lives. War had started at 23 o'clock on 4th August. 11 hours later, the destroyer HMS Lance and sister ship Landrail found the German Mindleer Koning Louis setting explosive mines off the Dutch coast. Lance sank the ship with this 4-inch gun. The Koning Louis was the first naval casualty of the First World War. Right, guys. These are serious stories of World War I. Outside you can see through, and that very colorful Royal Navy, the National Museum. And the journey continues. The Babcock Galleries. So this is how this area looks like, guys. Looks like HMS Hut. Hear my story. HMS Hear My Story. Yeah, the queens. These beds cabin, they were too small. I think this is I would make it a visit for another day because it's quite big and I can't finish it. But look at that. That looks like an elephant horn. Yeah, we'll come some other time to explore this gallery. In the meantime, they'll just get out. Changing uniforms.